Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to the Case of the Golden Idol, where we have an awful lot of stories here, and now we just have to figure out which ones are lies. Should be pretty simple from here, right? So this scroll is not filled in correctly. What do we feel like we're pretty solid on? Early in the morning, James Turner drugged Leopold Blanchard in the library and stole a button from him. Feeling very confident about that. I think that part's right. Meanwhile, in the salon, this part I'm less certain. Like, the stole a Lemurian seal is 100% right. Right? There's no noun that comes after Lemurian here that makes any goddamn sense. And if that's the case, then stole is the only verb that makes any sense. And Ergin's definitely the one who did it, but I don't, like, the problem is, I don't think that we have any reason to believe that Ergin verbed anyone in any way while doing this, currently. Our understanding of the situation simply does not contain that, even a little bit. In the salon at around noon, other stuff, yeah, James Turner murdered, I mean, the murder planted the button on him to frame Leopold Blanchard. Yeah, like, this is when the killing happens, right? So what is this bit? Let's go look at Ergin's story again. Or sorry, Ergin doesn't really have a story, does he? Because he just claims that everything that young Master Bell says is absolutely correct. Bell is Alistair Bell? Gideon Bell. Okay. Played croquet with Ergin in the morning. They got bored and went to drink tea in the tea house. Ergin drew his attention to the interesting design of the chess house. Saw Lord Alistair Cook lecture the butler. Saw Master Turner come to the chess house and send the butler away. Saw Lord Alistair leave the chess house and return shortly after. It's a shame that none of this is, like, timed. So, I mean, like, Alistair doesn't really have a role here so far in our understanding of the story, but he does, he is very quick to help accuse Leopold, and we know that he and James are in on some stuff together, so it feels to me like he should be more involved. And if we have this, like, moment where he's missing from the story, he just disappeared and came back later, it does feel like maybe, like, he could be responsible for the murder. Was James Turner unconscious at this time? Does it have to have been Alistair, maybe? What is, not that it is necessarily the case that James's testimony is solid, because we know he's lying. Went to the chess house. Spent the rest of the time playing chess with Alistair until the alarm was raised. Right, so he's got a lie that... Yeah, he's got a lie that's supposed to cover for Alistair. I guess this makes sense. So he orders the butler to clean up the library and get rid of the bad sherry. At which point, the butler goes and drinks some of the bad sherry, right? Because that is why his eyes are all bleary. Does any of this other stuff have anything to do with anything? Are we really just here for the black poppy? Nobody's got hiccups, hyperconcentration on one thing, loss of perception of time. You know, some of these journal entries sure seem like they could be affected by Lemurian lichen. Actually, did James have... No, James didn't really have any time stuff either. So the thing is, Ergen says, all Ergen has to say is that Gideon Bell's testimony is correct, that he agrees. Gideon's testimony doesn't really... I mean, first of all, it almost doesn't even make sense, timing-wise. Because, like, thing 4 doesn't belong between things 3 and 5, which are supposed to have happened, like, simultaneously, just as Ergen was remarking on the beauty of the chess house. So... they got bored and went to drink tea in the tea house. Ergen drew his attention to the design of the chess house. So they're here looking that way. Somebody said they saw Ergen in the glass door, didn't they? Was it Leopold? As he was falling asleep, saw the Lemurian observing him through the glass door. Well, I mean, I guess we don't know exactly what the timing on that is, though. They met to drink in the morning, right? And we do know that Gideon and Ergen were on the croquet field at the beginning of the day. So maybe that's not actually that weird. See, again, no time stuff. Maybe everybody here ingested some Lemurian lichen. Yeah, because this has no timing on it. James's testimony is not necessarily believable anyway. We know that James is not totally telling the truth. On entering the library to take away the glasses, found Lord Leopold asleep. Suddenly was overcome by dizziness. Yeah, this is where he took a hit of the sherry. Leopold woke up, saw the dead body. You know, I will say this does seem a little like if Turner's plan was to alibi Alistair so Alistair could go and perform the killing unattested to, it does not make a lot of sense for him to send the butler to the library. Right, like exactly where the murder would have to take place. Plot-wise, this doesn't... I don't want to say this, like, absolves James of involvement in the murder, but it sure is strange, isn't it? And I suppose it could be a lie. But I mean, he definitely came in here and drank. Did James claim that he sent the... He does say he sent the butler to the library. Yeah, okay. So this is a lie that we know about. I don't know. So this is incorrectly filled in. Maybe we can work with this a little bit. So, the young man and the prince, sorry, we're supposed to be in the tea house, not in the field. It's interesting that got us to 2 or fewer slots are incorrect. So if there were exactly 2 slots incorrect and we corrected this one, the message would still be the same. So who is not where I thought they were? When the body was found, the gardener's in the flower beds, the butler is in the salon, or I guess arguably the library. Okay. They're really the same room. I think that this is the game kind of quibbling over nothing. So we solved the murder. This is like, well, probably. We probably solved the murder. If this Alistair Coke thing bears out, there's just this one bit where Ergen did something while he was stealing the seal, but it doesn't, like, we don't know what it is, and also it literally doesn't matter. Like, it almost can't matter. I really wish I could just put in, like, who gives a shit? He stole a Lemurian seal that does not belong to these people anyway. Like, it's fine. So what is it? Either he killed someone, which we don't think so, or he planted someone, which is not correct, or he drugged someone at this point. I really think Podrick drugged himself. I guess it's not totally impossible that Ergen drugged Podrick, but I don't know. Yeah, Podrick's story is just... Oh, I suddenly became dizzy. Like, he's not blaming anybody else. He doesn't think anybody else handed him a drink or anything. He knows what he did, and that's the lie that covers that up. So, okay, one more time. Sorry, not actually looking at Gideon, looking at this. They got bored and went to drink tea in the tea house. Ergen drew his attention to the interesting design of the chess house. He saw Lord Alistair lecture the butler. He saw Master Turner come to the chess house and send the butler away at the same time as number 3 was happening, because nobody in this book has any interest in when anything occurred. And then he saw Lord Alistair leave the chess house and return. Lord Alistair lectured the butler. Is that a thing that was in Podrick's? We know that James told him to... Podrick doesn't feel like he was lectured by Lord Alistair. It's possible that it happened during this interaction, but in the morning is, yeah, the time when they were playing croquet, so I don't know that he would have been aware of that. They would have been in the chess house, which is almost on the other side of the house from the croquet field. It's not impossible that he could have seen that. You know, if they're on the north side of the croquet field and the lecturing was loud enough to get their attention all the way across the grounds. I mean, it's not... Maybe that's another... Maybe we're supposed to be getting that this is a lie. If this is a lie... We have two pieces of information that disagree here, or at least, you know, that seem to disagree, perhaps due to omission. But I don't know. It seems like they disagree, and there's no reason for the butler to not... There's no reason for the butler to lie and say somebody was too nice to him, really. Like, I reckon he would just tell us that the dead guy harangued him, right? I guess maybe he's trying to avoid giving himself motive. But also, maybe this just didn't happen. But what would be the value to Gideon of pretending that it did happen if it didn't? What is the note that Gideon has on him again? Right, it's just another one of these. He's a goofy looking kid. You know, it is worth noting, I don't think anybody else is blinking in their portrait at all. And he is blinking a ton. Maybe he was drinking tea with Ergen. Maybe Ergen drugged him? That's like very thin though. What is it? Okay. Loss of perception of time, hyper-concentration on one thing, rapid blinking. But he doesn't have hyper-concentration on one thing. He's, you know, he's doing and noticing a variety of things. He's not like way focused on any one element of the night in his testimony or anything, or one element of the day in his testimony. And he does show a sort of a disdain for the temporal order of things and when things happened, but not to a degree that is any different from everybody else, right? Like, nobody is telling us times or... Okay, we're actually closer. I guess it wouldn't have been in the salon, right? It would have been in the tea house. Okay, we have no idea if that was an improvement. All right, so early in the morning, James Turner drugged Leopold Blanchard in the library and stole a button. In the salon at around noon, Alistair Cock killed Augustus Valentine, planted the button on him to frame... Why does that say Turner Blanchard? Turner Blanchard is not even a person. Okay, that was it. So, hold on a sec. All right. Brotherhood members Alistair and James plotted to turn the ruling moderate and loyalist parties against each other. Over the course of a weekend at James's manor, Alistair murdered the moderate leader and James framed the loyalist leader. As a complicated frame, he framed the loyalist leader for attempting to frame the other guy. But what part of drugged... Like, the thing is, this kind of doesn't even make sense. There's the evidence that Gideon Bell was drugged is like very thin. Also, it doesn't matter even the tiniest little bit. It is a complete nothing detail. But also, clearly Gideon's willing to lie on Ergen's behalf. So, like, who gives a shit? Why would he drug him? I guess maybe the idea is that Gideon is supposed to have not been lying for Ergen, but is supposed to have become transfixed by the beauty of the chess house, such that he missed Ergen leaving and coming back. That doesn't make any sense. Gideon would have to already be lying for him. So at that point, what is the point of the drugging? I don't know. I think the actual plot of this one is fine, but this weird little bit in the middle is maybe not, maybe incorrect. You have proven that I can trust you. Here is the Brotherhood's artifact that I removed from the traitor, Keen. Let me educate you how it works. I set it to take heat from this cup of water. Then I changed the symbols and used the idol to give that heat to something else. But there is much more that the idol can do. Weird voice work. It's almost as good as my voice work. Alright, this is a little thin. Ooh, this is going to be a nightmare, I'm sure. Well, let's see if we can get through this one at least. Chapter 4, The New Order. The Triumph of Order. A very menacing phrase. It's interesting that says 12 of 46 when in fact we have zero words. Oh, you can zoom. I was trying to scroll this up and down, but apparently you can just like zoom the camera. So this looks like a dead person. This man is not breathing, has no apparent wounds. Prince of Dusk. Like night, I am dark and full of terror. I do not fear love. Do not make that error. When you know my name, just look for my face. Get with the... Okay. This is bad poetry. Poor bugger. I've never seen so much merit removed in the tribunal. Some mistakes are very costly. Yeah, 13. That's weird. So, an Albion franc banknote. Franc. Citizen Mr. David Gorin, enforcer of the Order Party, history of infraction and obedience, had a secret compartment in his office locker and denied the existence of the secret compartment. Pretty harsh negatives, but loyal service in low-ranking position to the Order Party is worth an awful lot of merit, apparently. I was going to say, I know that guy's face is familiar, but I can't place who it is. But yeah, it's David Gorin. That's totally correct. Just crazy for that third virtue. We have a full, like, Tex Avery wolf seeing a pretty lady, eyes bugging out of the head thing going on here. We're way into that third virtue. Well, the second virtue, I could take it or leave it. Oh, hey. What are you insinuating, James? I would never breach the fourth virtue. You know damn well that I keep no secrets. Really? Really, are we sure of that? Dear Arbiter, Coke, I am writing to inform you that our regiment's colonel was seen with another officer's wife in a potentially intimate situation. We implore you to send your agents to investigate this potential flouting of the first virtue. So, the arbiter of the order party once slapped a sergeant in anger and listened to marching music in his manor. Can you believe him? How gauche. But loyal service to the order party in a high-ranking position plus 20 merit means that one of these two is worth a lot of negatives, or there are other negatives. We're definitely not allowed to turn the pages of this book, so I guess we'll never know. What have we here? Culprit, Mr. Fangor Quinn. Charges, claimed he had no wife. Has a painting depicting a naked person in his house. How dare he? Broke his wife's favorite teapot in anger. Was observed spending a night with a neighbor's wife. Mr. Walter Keene flirted 3 times with different married women during the party convention. Wore ridiculous headgear at 5 public events. Is that what this picture has been? This picture has been somebody recording Walter Keene's hats so that they can get him in trouble later. Claimed he had not betrayed High Arbiter Lazarus during his ritual of ascendance. Expelled from the party of order. Harsh. Mr. Lothar Richards held a dinner party a few years ago where he offered large amounts of wine to his guests. How dare he? Got angry during the questioning and shouted at the High Arbiter, but revealed the whereabouts of his hiding fugitive dissident daughter Mary and her husband Peter. Wow, he sold out his daughter and he only got 15 merit for that, really? It's pretty harsh. That's a bad deal. Culprit Mr. Josh Bailey left his work at the tannery early, drank excessive amounts of gin at the Scrawny Cat, drank excessive amounts of rum at the Old Oak, approached a married woman with an indecent offer, and denied 4 times during questioning that he had done any of these things. And we're not interested in that. We've decided he did them. There are birth dates on all, or birth years on all of these, and I'm sure they're going to matter for some reason. Count Horace Webb has not held down a job since the new regime, evaluated as 60 instances of non-work. His score is going to be real fucked up. Claims he works in his castle, helping his servants to clean it. Possesses 15 books kept in his private library. Aren't there books in the books? Okay, we'll come back to it. However, expressed willingness to donate his castle to the party, evaluated as plus 200 merit, which I guess is the only way he was going to stay positive. And young Gideon Bell wears an outrageous hairstyle. Broke down in tears 10 times during the questioning. Well, I hope I don't get interrogated by these weirdos, because I would probably do the same. Has refused to start working, evaluated as 5 instances of job skipping, and rejected the High Arbiter's request that he share information of a secret entrance to the castle of his cousin, the Sovereign. Okay, so basically, everybody's gonna hang today. Well, that is music to my ears, Alistair, but do control your emotions. We as arbiters of order must never violate the first virtue. Dear Dr. Turner, I must regretfully inform you that during your absence from party business, your senior assistant Daniel has demonstrated extreme untidiness, and thus breached one of the virtues. Thanks, junior assistant Toby, you snitch. Dr. Turner drank a full bottle of brandy at a picnic, kept the book Legacy of the Rose Dynasty in his study, but, loyal service or whatever. Okay, this is interesting, and just a room with so many sparkles in it. Silence! You will perform your function as much as is required. It is paramount to ensure order in our new society. Okay, I don't remember what that setting is. Remember the second virtue. Store confiscated objects and evidence according to the virtue breached. Oh, interesting. Observe the 4 virtues to avoid losing merit. So we have brandy and opium in here. First virtue is something to do with... it's a heart, though, huh? Maybe it has something to do with excess? Based on the idea that having too much stuff is bad for your heart? I don't know. It's pretty thin. An invoice from the Blackbrook farm for 29 pence worth of butter. I'm assuming that's a lot. It feels like a lot. For the time, I mean. Alright, well there's Gideon's locket of himself. Portrait of Gideon Bell, pointed by Jasmine Nightwings in 1794. This is a nightmare. And here we have a violin. Book titled Stories and a book titled Autumn Tales, very similar. And our character just knows that, yeah, we don't need to open these. In all truth, Lord High Arbiter, I would prefer storing no more than this. Since year 1792, when it gained a majority in Parliament and liberated our government from multi-party chaos, the Order Party has worked hard to improve society. Despite the vast popular support for the party, His Majesty refuses to acknowledge the authority of the party's tribunal. High Arbiter Lazarus Hurst has announced that, in 2 months, the party and its supporters will participate in a peaceful march to the King's current residence to demonstrate their virtue of moderation. I don't think that does that. I am honored to help the party upkeep the 4 virtues. I only hope sitting here all day does not count as sloth. See, that's how they get you. There are worse jobs than this one. And thank God, tobacco is not considered an indulgence. A bit boring, though. Too bad literature is forbidden. Can't even inspect this. So what do we have? Oh, geez. Okay. So we need to figure out exactly what the virtues are. Number, noun have passed since Order Party has seized power. One assumes that's got to be either days or years. During a tribunal, some person's name, is judged to have the largest something deduction in all tribal history. To execute his punishment, something was used on him, and he lost 28 fingers. It's tough to make sense of this just yet. Alright, where do we still need sparkles? Probably quite a lot of places down here. Weekly order of the Party of People's Tribunal number 42. 6 culprits are brought to the tribunal. Tribunal is opened. Each culprit's charges are evaluated and merit changes are calculated. It takes them quite a while to get through all that. It is a thing of beauty to see order prevail. If it were not against the first virtue, I would feel very happy. Dr. Nicholas Maker. Labeled a protocol as being on Thursday, even though it was Wednesday. Obvious demerit. Took a double-length lunch break in the office. But then, loyal service. It's very easy to end up positive. As long as you've done any military service at all, it seems like. Nicholas. I'll wager you feel the new regime rewards your diligence now. So tell me why I saw you spend more than 3 shillings on new clothes after I asked you to lend me money and you said you had none to spare. I suggest you lend me some now. Unless you want me to write up an official report about a fourth virtue breach. Your beloved brother. Alright. I felt it in my bones that I should have drunk less. Now we poor souls experience God's wrath. I don't know if I'm buying it. This tribunal is a farce. They spread lies that my pure love is merely lust. And what do they even know about true art? Such a relief that they decided not to push any fashion charges. I hope the process is not painful. Did I miss something on you? Oh, I didn't grab the word beauty, is all it was. Yep, okay. His thing was still a color. Alright, who else do we need to examine here? Nobody, I guess. We are at 46 of 46. Okay. This is gonna be a nightmare. Alright, tell you what, I'm gonna be right back. And then we're gonna tackle this in earnest. Alright, sorry about that. We're back, and we've got sort of like the basic lay of this. There is an awful lot to figure out. So the basic shape of the scroll that we actually need. Some number of time have passed, so plural unit of time. Is years the only thing that fits here? Yeah, I think so. We don't know how many years, but years. Some years have passed since Order Party has seized power. During a tribunal, someone is judged to have the largest blank deduction in all tribunal history. To execute his punishment, blank was used on him, and he lost numbers, noun, and died. So, okay, grammatically, this is another one where like the grammar of the sentence is probably going to give us a lot of hints. During a tribunal, this person is judged to have the largest blank deduction in all tribunal history. How many of these yellow words can even fit here? Largest merit deduction makes sense. Music, idle, truth, moderation. I mean, it seems like it has to be merit, right? Where was the each culprit's charges are evaluated, merit changes are calculated. We saw a was it up here maybe? The piece of the booklet. Yeah, this is what I wanted. It's like this kind of stuff. They don't use this terminology, like merit deduction, but I mean, like, there are deductions occurring. It's interesting that everybody is apparently responsible for holding on to their own merit booklet. You'd think that would be prone to tampering or foolishness. Man is not breathing, no apparent wounds. I mean, it could be the case that he was, like, aged very rapidly. He lost blank years and died, right? His body is laid out in a pretty strange way, though. It's kind of hard to tell what is happening here. Never seen so much merit removed in the tribunal. Some mistakes are very costly. So yeah, it's the biggest merit deduction, right? That seems... Again, most of these words like don't make any grammatical sense in that location. To execute his punishment, blank was used on him. So it's blank was used on him, not a blank. But it still was, not were. So what can fit here? Mistakes, frunks, secrets, years, emotions, music. Music technically could fit. untidiness was used on him. Just executed some untidiness all over his face. Truth was used on him. Okay, yeah, grammatically, I suppose a fair number of these work. But we don't have any sense of what happened to him exactly. If the idol had been used on him, that would certainly be a way of drawing like things out of him conceptually, but the idol is not present, right? The idol is in this room. It's in this layout, which unfortunately, damn it, I do not. We could go look at the spell book. All right. Hook O sideways T. Let's go back. Where was like the thorough spell book? Was it in this one? No. Okay, so you have that. Because there was a place where we had a relatively thorough spell book. Was it in maybe here? Gosh, I wish I remembered, because it's actually like it would probably help quite a bit at this point. Who would have thought that I like needed to take a screenshot? There's stuff about the idol in this one. Okay, here we go. This is probably useful. So... okay. Unknown effect 14. Progress from fruit to some more advanced organic matter. Must ask David to fetch me a dead body for further experiments. So, okay, it could be like time. It could be that the statue takes in, like, conceptually time from something by aging it very rapidly, and then you could point it at something else and de-age that. That's a thing that you could do on fruit. This certainly can't be a spell to steal bones, because fruit would not be a usable testing apparatus for that one. Yeah, this is interesting. Did we... I don't think there was any point at which we saw like an update to that would give us more information. Did anybody here have outside? Somebody keeping track of ridiculous hats, and now we know why. Yeah, I don't know. I think that was probably it. I think that we just don't know what that spell does. That said, this was not down there. You'll perform your function as much as is required. It is paramount to ensure order in our new society. I'd prefer storing no more than this. Since year 1792, when it gained a majority in Parliament and liberated our government from multi-party chaos, the Order Party, so 1792, it's 1795 now. I mean, that paper's from 1795. It's hard to imagine him just carrying around a really old paper, right? Okay. So I'll say this, based on the head shape and the sort of the skin coloration, it seems to me that this could be Walter Keane, and I don't think we see Walter Keane anywhere else. For the moment, I'm going to function under that assumption. A very significantly aged up Walter Keane. Maybe. Okay, your stuff is kind of whatever. We saw some... Oh, here we go. Okay, here's one thing. So I saw you spend more than 3 shillings on new clothes after I asked you to lend me money. You said you had none to give. I suggest you lend me some now unless you want me to write up an official report about a 4th virtue breach. I don't know that it's necessarily terribly important for the purposes of the of actually just completing the game to understand the full story here and to fill in all of this stuff. We could just figure this out and move on, but we may want to know these later. So the 4th virtue is, I mean, it's either being stingy with your money or being dishonest. I guess it could be indulgence. It could be that the... Well, no, but the... No, it could be. It could be. I was going to say it can't be indulgence because the grievance in that letter was specifically the lying about not having money. But we don't know that that's what the infraction report would be about. It could be that you're just not supposed to spend a bunch of money on clothes for yourself. So what? Untidiness, indulgence, lust probably is one of them. So hold on. These are confiscated objects and evidence according to the virtue breached. So this black, the black virtue, the 4th virtue, has an eye on it, and the only things in the sacrifice box are books of stories. I really don't know what to make of this stuff. Yellow is artfulness. I mean, maybe art. The 3rd virtue is art. All right, 2 just has some angel wings, and for some reason, this invoice is evidence of a. It is worth noting that the math here is wrong. Is that a thing? Is bad math mistakes? That would be a hell of a thing to be a... Well, I guess the way they're worded, though, is the 2nd virtue is not making mistakes. So the virtue would be diligence, I guess. Those things are not really opposed, but they're, you know, conceptually they're far apart at least. All right, literature's forbidden. Tobacco is not considered an indulgence. Indulgence is definitely one of them. And it could be the first one, right? Indulging in liquor. It could potentially be like these ones as artistic indulgences or something. So none of these actually talk in yeah, these do not really speak in terms of like violations. And Walter Keane, having been expelled from the party, certainly, the current state of this fellow is an exit from the party. So remember the second virtue. I mean, the second virtue's got to be like diligence, right? I'm going to go ahead and put this down here. So, okay. If the virtue is diligence, then at work, mistakes will be punished. Looking at our yellow words real fast here just to figure out what else would fall pretty squarely outside the definition of diligence. Untidiness, maybe? Yeah, maybe. It doesn't feel very strong. It doesn't feel like a very strong connection, does it? Yeah, I don't know yet. So that's a lack of diligence there. It's weird that the outline of this box is the same color as this drawer. Makes me think I'm in a different drawer. So one of these is indulgence. I don't feel like I have a... It's got to be one, right? Honestly, it could be 1 or 3. Even 4, I guess, depending on how you define indulgence. Our regiment's colonel has been seen with another officer's wife. We implore you to send your agents to investigate this potential flouting of the first virtue. So, brandy, opium, and boning someone else's wife. What do these things have in common? It's actually a really good question. And you could argue that they're all indulgence. You're indulging your feelings. I don't think there are any of the other words here more than indulgence. So let's just go ahead and throw... Oh, sorry, but the virtue would not be indulgence. The virtue would be the opposite. I guess. But moderation doesn't really work for going to see another officer's wife. Yeah, this is a little tricky. Also, I do think it's really interesting that we were given such a large number of names, but there is only the one thing to do with names. The vast majority of this is just garbage. Alright, what other indications do we have of rule breaking? Such a relief, they decided not to push any fashion charges. So fashion is a thing that's against the rules. Yeah, you're getting in trouble for imbibing too much alcohol, which is not like a huge surprise to me. Yeah. Not finding a lot of clues here. I'll tell you what. I might call the episode just the tiniest bit early here, because I think I need to sit here and have a think on this one. So that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, tomorrow-ish, I'm going to have some kind of plan for approaching, at the very least, figuring out what these virtues are. But hopefully, the actual stuff in the scroll will shortly follow. And we'll see you then.